Hello, hello chat, hello chat, hello chat. Today I'm a little bit late, but it's a good thing. It's Friday and it's a slow day, and it means that we also have a lot of time. So today I'm not rushing. We might be here for a longer period, probably 1 hour, 1.5 hours. I think 2 hours is a little bit, is too much. But also, since yesterday, there has not been a lot of significant news changes, staff signings, which means that it's the perfect time to really reflect, because next year we are going into a period where teams will be, you know, teams are going to start their preseason, like really, really start their preseason. Like a lot of teams, a lot of big teams are moving to US for the summer series. Some will be doing preseason friendlies. It has been a week since a lot of teams are reported, which means they'll be rating their teams. Like it will be a good time for the teams to know which areas there are still weaknesses and make the required changes. So from, I think, next week, we might start hearing a lot of new names. Like for the past 3 weeks, it was just the same names, a lot of interest. It was interest confirmation, but it was for the same names, like all those issues that a lot of teams had in the concluded season. Like if we had issues with goalkeeper for Man United, if we had issues with striking for Chelsea, if we had issues with midfielder for certain teams, issues with striking for Arsenal, that has been concluded. But when preseason starts, and a lot of teams usually start, tactical changes, trying to gel the squad with the new people, trying to cover up those areas where they lost a lot of guys. Because sometimes we usually just think signing, but even in a transfer season, there's also losing players. Like Chelsea has lost certain players, like Madueke was one of the key guy last season. We've lost him, and probably we don't know how the team will be without him, either playing or on the bench. Some other teams have lost. Man United is going to lose Garnacho, and it has also lost some guys. Who has Man United sold? Liverpool has sold some guys. Alexander. Probably they are going to lose Luis Diaz. So they're also going to see how that affects them, and that will be found next year when they start their really, really key preseason. And after 2 weeks in camp, just working on the tactics. But again, we are just going to go through what has happened, especially the last 1 week. And the big news is Isaac. Yesterday in the video, I talked about him submitting the transfer request late, and we didn't really, really delve on that matter. Now, the news are that Liverpool might still be interested in him. Newcastle is pricing him at 150. At 150, I don't think a lot of teams are going to spend that. Not Real, not any other Premier League team or any other European team is not going to spend that. It's probably Liverpool, because they have shown it, and Saudi Arabia. And Chelsea were very, very, very quick to deny that they were not interested in him. Like, their squad was full. They were only interested in Xavi Simons and Joral Hato. So Liverpool have to meet either that price or go near that price. So it will be either above 100. And I'm not sure Isaac as at now will want to go to Saudi Arabia unless they're offering a huge sum of money. And Saudi Arabia have started also, I don't know, like accounting for what has been happening with them. I think they have given a lot of guys huge contract, especially the Ronaldo's last contract. It was so huge, and the people they gave like some of the bigger contract, I think they started regretting with especially how they applied themselves, their discipline, how it affected the team. Because even the other Aston Villa guy, what's his name? He was shipped out. What's his name? Like we wanted him last transfer. Why am I forgetting? But also, it just means that Saudi Arabia are not also so willing to give just anybody a huge contract. Like they also want to build a team. Like that's how it usually happen. Like you spend a lot and then you start, normalizing salaries, normalizing the transfer fees to make the league sustainable. And I think that is going to happen in uh, you know in the coming days, in the coming transfers. That has affected how, like, some transfers were carried out. Like we expected people like Osimhen will go there, but then when Osimhen like put his stamps in, they were like, nah, those are too huge. And I think they're not willing to spend again 150. They might. I'm not saying it's not like they're not capable. They might spend 150 on his account, still give him a very huge salary, but it's not expected like in previous seasons. So what we are going to expect, what we are going to like predict is that Isaac will probably go to Liverpool. And that means Newcastle will also need to sign somebody. And yesterday again, they said they're interested in Sesko. Now, Newcastle has not been doing their business right. It has been 2 years of ownership by the Saudi guy. Are they Saudi or Qatar guys? And we expected, like at some point 2 years ago, they wanted to buy Neymar. And I don't know, like Messi had trouble with PSG. They wanted to, and we were expecting so much from them. But then the first season they did well, especially after signing Eddie Howe. They did well. They performed well. They went to top four. They went to Champions League. This period, they did not manage to go. Did they? Yeah, Newcastle are in Champions League because they took 5. I think this season 5 people. I might buff a little bit. Let me just confirm. I don't want Rubicon. Yeah, they were number 5. So they'll be in Champions League. And they'll also be in Premier League. But they have not done a lot of business. I don't think they have a team that will compete in those two competitions as at now. Like even last year, they just had like 15 players who you are sure will play. Like 15 players were playing nearly every other game, League Cup, a Premier League, FA, and any other competition. Those 5 players were the 15 players were the ones playing. And at some point, Tonali was injured. And I think it had a toll on the players. Like Tonali and Isak were injured. So it was just like a 15 guys playing every other game. Even when they were the teams that beat us in FA, I think. The same guys that beat us in FA were the same guys playing Premier League after 3 days. I think they're not also going to perform the same way they performed last season. And they don't have a lot of options. They don't have a lot of backups. And if they're losing Isak, I don't think they're going to perform the same way this season. If they don't send like a lot of people in the coming 3 weeks or in the coming 2 weeks. Now, if Liverpool gets Isak, now that will be a complete squad. Like they will be OP. They will have overpowered every because Isak is one of the best, if is not the current best striker. I know I've said it a lot of times. He's among the top 3 strikers. If you have the top 3 striker, you have the top 3 winger, left winger, top 3. I don't know who will play left wing. But again, if they are going to sell Diaz, they might sign Rodrigo. And maybe Rodrigo is not like the best, but his output, you will expect will be similar or even better than probably Luis Diaz or the left wings in Premier League, basically. So they're front 3, and they'll be having subs such as Gakpo, Nunez, if Nunez does not go, and Ekitike, who is also a very good striker. Now, that forward line is so good. It's so good. Like if they sign Isak, I don't know how any team will stop them. Like they'll be so good. Now there were again other suggestion. I'm just saying, like, Isak. Chelsea refuted claims that they were interested in Isak, but some fans, people dream, and everybody, not everybody, some fans who are so, excited by transfers, who are just wondering, what if Chelsea just decides to not sign Xavi Simons, decide to not add any other forward, and after they lose Sterling, after they lose all these other forwards that they don't want, what if they sign Isak? But then, what would that mean to people like Joe Pedro? I know Joe Pedro can play in attacking mid, and if you are going to play like with Palma on the right wing, or Pedro on attacking mid, and any other player on left wing, either Neto or all the players. Now we can have Isak, but that will also mean that Delap will not get a chance. I just think that as currently we have the right kind of forwards. And even if we don't lose, even if we lose Nicholas Jackson, I don't think we need another forward. Like we are packed. Like Pedro has shown, and sometimes when scouting or when you see certain players play, you can just tell that this person is a goal scorer. Like the only reason that probably he had little amount of goals or little amount of goal involvements in Premier League last season or in the competitions before, it was just because probably the people surrounding him. Like you need people who can give you the right through passes, the right crosses, and you need a team that can allow you to get a lot of chances. Like you should be getting chances every now and then. If you're playing a team where you're getting chances after 10 minutes or after 20 minutes, then your output will be low. Now, if people are rating you based on goals involvements, if you're playing in a team that doesn't do that to you, they don't give you chances, then people will think that you are not as good as you are. Like you can even see how Messi was playing in Paris. Like he had nearly was it 6 goals in the whole year? And everybody was saying like Messi is finished. But you can just see that Messi is not finished. He went to World Cup, won the World Cup, went to MLS and is dominating that league. Sometimes it's just the team. And I think Pedro will perform very good next season. And we don't need another forward to just bring competition is good, but sometimes you need competition that allows even those people who are competing to get minutes, to show themselves, and to really, really prove that they are bad. You just don't need competition where a person cannot prove themselves. Like you are in a point where whether you work or you don't work, you just know that the minutes are not coming. Now, what Chelsea is doing right now, and I think this thing is taking too long. The Xavi Simons and Jorelato, like for the past signings, since the time that you hear the first rumor to the time that they are signed, it doesn't take a week, it doesn't take 2 weeks. This one is taking too long. Like we had probably a week ago that Jorelato had agreed to our terms. But then from then it has been prices going up. Sometimes you hear Ajax 150, sometimes you hear Ajax 170, and sometimes it's just like right now, like since yesterday it has just been silent everywhere. Like nobody has commented on Jorelato, nobody has commented on whether the deal with Simmons is going to be concluded anytime sooner. But it will be like that Gyökeres, where at some point you are like, things are hard. Like every party that is involved is so hard on the deal, and then you just think that this thing is going to take a lot of time. Then all of a sudden it's concluded. I think probably we are in that point. Now, if the deal was going to fail, I think Chelsea has been a little bit too honest in this transfer. Like when the deal with Maignan failed, they were so clear, like, we have stopped our pursuit of Maignan. We are going to concentrate on other things. When people are trying to link us with Garnacho, it was like, no, we are not doing that right now. As much as we are interested, we are not doing that right now. With Isak, they were like, no, we didn't send any contact, we didn't make any contact, and it has been like that. I think with Xavi and Jorelato, I think it will also, if it amounts to something, as at now, I think we will know. But then, Jorelato is not coming to our first 11. That one, as I have said so many times, I don't think Jorelato is coming to our first 11. Xavi Simons, he might come to our first 11, but that depends on Maresca. Now, those are not two signings that are, the things that you say it's we have to do it, like we have to do it or we don't have to do it. There are two signings that are luxury. They are backup. It may sound bad for Xavi, but they are most likely rotational players. Yeah, and that will not affect how our team will play or how our team will be. It's not like if they fail, we are going to perform worse than we'll have performed if we sign them. That's it. And then the issue with Garnacho, I think Man United have a lot of problem, because if we send Xavi, I don't think we are going to send Garnacho. And there's no any interest from any Premier League team on him. top teams, and the bottom teams, I don't think they're going to cater for his salary. So probably if he's not going to be signed by Chelsea, he might be loaned. I don't think he'll want to sign permanently for any team outside of Premier League. I think he wants to really like perform in Premier League. So he might be signed the same way that Barcelona. He might be loaned the same way that uh, Rashford was loaned to Barcelona. That's it. Sterling is going out, I think, Bayern Leverkusen, and it was an issue for Chelsea especially because we have a couple of people that we really need to sell. They have been in the club for far too long. It's 3 years. Every coach comes and says they are not part of their project, and they can't seem to find any. They can't seem to find a suitor, a team that wants them. Like we have Chilwell. Chilwell has been, I think, probably 4 years unwanted in Chelsea, but he just keeps nobody really wants to sign him. He's going on loan, and now Chelsea has decided that they're not going to loan him again. Like if a team wants them, they should just buy them. And that has been the same for Chilwell, that has been the same for Sterling, that has been the same for Nkunku and Felix. Like right now it's just you go. We want to close your books because the salary again is huge. Those 4 players are taking a huge amount of salary. And I think that's the problem. And that's the issue with the event right now, getting top class players, like getting the kinds of Osimhen. Because if they fail, who are you selling to? If they don't perform, who are you selling to? In the past, you'll have only a bunch of top class footballers. Like people like Lukaku, they used to fail, but then I don't know, like there were just teams that were willing to take him until the end when he started struggling. But people also were so willing with cutting down their salaries. Nowadays, nobody wants to cut their salary. Sancho did not want to cut their salary. At some point, Lukaku cut his salary just to be loaned out. Right now, Chilwell doesn't want to cut his salary. Sterling does not want to cut his salary. Like they rather go to Saudi Arabia, and some even don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. They just want to stay. Like you pay them, or you find a team that can cater for probably 50% of the salary, and then you pay the rest until the end of the season. Now I don't know how that will do to the rest. Like, of course, there have been links with Joao to Benfica. Chilwell, I don't think. Chilwell, was it Watford or what, that wanted to loan him? Then Sterling by Leverkusen. Then Nkunku. Juventus was into Nkunku and either Sterling or Nkunku. But it was also because we wanted Yildiz. Is it called Yildiz? I think it was somehow going to be an exchange with some amount. Like if we are going to take Yildiz, we'll give them a certain amount, and then we'll add them either Nkunku or we'll add them Sterling. I think that was the issue. But those were the deals for the past week. Now, I don't like certain teams this season. Certain teams have already covered their weaknesses. But certain teams, if we're starting with Man United currently has bought Mbeumo, has bought Kuna. They have not bought a striker, but they still have Ojland. They still have, where is this Netherlands guy? His name always missing. if you look at the squad, like I just don't know how to rate the squad because the squad on paper is not even good. Like none of those guys. Some guys are either at the end of their career, some guys are either starting, and some guys have been playing, but they have not shown whether they'll pick. Like you have people like Ahmad, Dogu, who's the other guy, who are so young. You just don't know. They might perform or they may not. Now you have people like Mazrui, they're good, sure. Yoro, they have been performing, but then you just know that they haven't really performed to an extent that you can say that these players can fit in a title winning squad or even a good squad, like a good squad, a title, like a squad that can compete for the title. Then you have people like Maguire, you have people like Onana who have played for a period of time. Of course, Onana, when he was playing for Inter, and when he was playing for Ajax, when he was playing for Inter, I just think they were playing nearly to his advantage, like to his side of quality. So he was able to show it. He even played in Champions League final. They were just about to win against Man City. But Lukaku did his thing. Like Lukaku was defending instead of attacking. But that's it. Then at the mid, you have Casemiro. I think he can't run. You have Fernandez, who is good, but then when he plays for Portugal, they get results. And I think it's just because he's in a collection of people who are also playing at high level. With Man City, a lot of people are not playing at high level. And I think the problem with Man City, not Man City, Man United. The problem with Man United is that, and I've said it, they need a new midfielder. They need a midfielder. I saw some people suggesting that they need somebody like Baleba. And that's true. They need somebody like Baleba who will play like an engine, like be there, stop attacks, play it for other people, like collect the ball from defenders, like just do the dirty stuff of a DM, and not just a DM that like really plans like Rodley. You need a DM like Kante, like Caicedo, because the team has a lot of, you can say, deadwood. Like there's a lot of people who are good, but they make a lot of mistakes. Even Fernandes, at some point last season, Fernandes was very good. Sometimes he was playing at very world class, high class football, but then he will make a certain tackle and you'll wonder like why is he doing that, or just miss the ball, or sometimes just decide not to come back to defend. And that's when you need a person who can do that work for him, like a person who can play two positions in one. Probably Baleba is the only person who is available. I don't think any other person will be willing to go to Man United that doesn't have European European football. They're not in any competition. Again, they might, if they're to stay with Onana, they will need a very cool defender, like the Thiago type, like a person who's so cool, like who's very relaxed at the back. That's only when Onana can like really start shining. Currently, every person in Man United, be it Maguire, be it Yoro, be it who's the other guy, even Mazrui when he was playing in that position, and Martinez, they are all, I think they become anxious. I don't know if that's the word, like they become anxious whenever they have to defend. And now they usually put Onana, who's also anxious, who's also like a super keeper, but sometimes it's very far ahead. And when you are far ahead, or when you are as a keeper, if you are playing on foot most of the times, you need a defender who's just chill, taking the ball, like controlling the defense, helping the midfield to control. So if they are to remain with Onana, they need that defender. But if they have to keep these defenders, then they need a new keeper. So for Man United, I think they still need a keeper and a good midfielder, or a good midfielder and probably a chilled defender to at least be among the top six. Winning the league for them is done. I don't think they can. They'll have to do some kind of magic to win. Now, with Arsenal right now they have everybody. They have midfielders, they have defenders, they have a keeper. Plus, Kepa's a backup keeper is still good. And now they have a striker. They have left wingers. They might still buy a left winger, but even Martinelli is still good. And you have Saka. Now, the problem with Arsenal, I think, is the coach. Because at some point you need a coach that knows how to win. Arteta has been winning. Even when he was an assistant to Pep, has been winning. But I think he's over tactical. And sometimes when you are over tactical, I just think you curtail people, like you prevent world-class players from doing world-class stuff. Like if you're forcing everybody to pass, and it's the same problem with Man City. And again, I'll say that Man City right now, their only problem will be Pep. Because if you have world-class players and you are always trying to force them to do whatever you want them to do, now they'll be in a position where they have to shoot, or where they have to dribble past 3 people, 4 people and shoot, or just place it at the bottom corner. But then they have to think like, what does the coach want? What's the movement? Like everybody is moving the same, the way the coach wants. Everybody wants to, whenever there's problem, they want to pass the ball back. Whenever there's an issue, they want to pass the ball back, or just slow the game down, Like there's a lot of over tactical coaching. Like there's over coaching, there's over analyzing. It's not just playing to the advantage of the squad. Because if you have a striker who plays in a certain way, give him the ball. If you have a winger who can score anytime he wants, like Saka can score, like Saka can give the same output that Yamal usually gives. But I don't think they usually allow him to do whatever he should be doing. I think with Barcelona, Yamal is usually allowed to just be a kid, to just dribble past people, like run, like just enjoy the game. And for world-class players, it's so wrong for me to say Saka is world-class, but that's the truth. Like Saka is a good player, and sometimes you need to allow him to just make certain mistakes. You need to allow him to make mistakes in order to get the output that he can give. That's what people used to allow Hazard to do. Sometimes Hazard will make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes he'll lose a lot of possession. But that's the cost you pay to allow him to be himself, to allow him to play the way he wants. And when he plays the way he wants with freedom, that's when you start getting all the results. That's when you see him like he has 5 players, but he's just going through the West Ham midfield, the West Ham defenders to score an own goal. Like we are in a position where we could just chill with the ball and let Arsenal struggle to get the possession, but then Hazard just decides to move through 6 Arsenal players to score the goal. That's what you get when you allow a world-class player to play the way he wants. And I think that's what Chelsea has managed with Cole. Whenever they allow Cole to make a lot of mistakes, lose possession, like be himself, just do whatever he wants. That's when you start getting all these magical moments. That's when you start allowing him to score certain goals. If we decide that, you know what, whenever you get the ball, don't do whatever you want to do. Just pass, just pass. The way Man City and sometimes Arsenal usually do. Then you might prevent your team from really showing the quality that they have. And I think if Arteta does not change next season, he will be the only impediment to Arsenal either winning the league or competing for the league. Now, the other team that is full is Liverpool. Even the way it is, even without adding in any person, even without adding in Isaac, even without adding in Rodrigo, even without making another signing, I think they are like they have everybody everywhere. Like in goalkeeping, they have Alisson and Mama Di Charlie or somebody. In defense, they have Konate, they have Van Dijk, and they still have people like who's the other England backup, like who can always come and back up. They have been playing for so long, they know the ins and outs of defending either with Van Dijk or just defending overall for Liverpool. Again, they have Frimpong, they have Kekes. Those Kekes was so good last season. Frimpong was so good the season before last season. Also last season he was good, but he was playing as he was trying to. The previous season he was more like Arnold. The previous season he had some issues, but you can still have, benefit of doubt. But then you also have Robertson, and then you also have this young kid, what's his name? But he's also good. He replaced Arnold last year in a couple of games, and the quality was still the same. And in midfield, they have everybody. They have Gravenberch, the Argentinian guy. They have both Wids. They have, like, I'm forgetting their names, but they have a huge squad. And in front, as I've said, they have Salah, they have Ekitike, they have, as at now, they have Luis, they have Gakpo, they have Nunes, and again, Jones. Like it's a title winning squad. Like the quality from last season to this season, you can say it has improved. It has not depreciated. So if they even just play the same way they played last season, which I think they'll improve this season, then these other teams will have to do better, to do much better, much better to really compete. They'll have to really not lose a game. They'll have to play like madmen to not lose a game. Now, with Chelsea, I think forward, we are good. Midfield, I think we have the best midfield in the world. I know a lot of people will be, oh, you're just biased. But it's true. We have the best midfield in the world. Like Enzo. Enzo is a World Cup winner. And is also a club World Cup winner. And he has been playing in Chelsea for 2 years. Every week. Like the amount of times that he has not performed, you can point it. And he does the basic stuff. Like sometimes people don't see how he plays because people just want the magical, like who made a nutmeg, who did this. But sometimes you need a person who just makes basic passes, just arranges, just basic through balls, coming back, tackling, doing the needful. If he has to foul, he has to foul. If he has to fight, and he fights and he runs. Basic stuff. The same for Caicedo. He just does the basic stuff so good. And for him it's not even basic. For him it's extra. Like he's a counter agent. Like he does certain stuff that you will most likely not see from other midfield. Like the current any other person doing the same, like nearly as similar to him is Baleba. So whatever he does is the best in the world. Like tackling, coming back, recovery, just being hard, just going hard on defenders. And then you have James, who again, when it comes to the midfield, is just having all these passes, free kicks, like correct long balls, like pinpointed long balls, bodies people around. Like it's just physical and is so good on the ball. Like he's a real baller. Then there's a couple of people who, whenever they come in, they're just world class. You have Lavia, as much as he's not playing a lot of games, but he's so good. He's so good. And if you don't have Caicedo, Esugo also does nearly the same thing he does. Just not as good, but like the same thing, like the same stuff he does. And we have all other bunch of subs, like Drewsbury Hall, who comes in, plays basic football, but then it's just the right kind of ball. And now at the defense, Cucurella, best in the world. When you come here, Reece James at right back, possibly as a defender, best in the world. But then Malo Gusto is also one of the, good defenders in Premier League. Like, there's no way you can count in Premier League 5 better defenders in right back than Malo Gusto. Then at the center, that's when they're not bad. Like Tosin is not bad. Chalobah is not bad. When Chalobah went to Crystal Palace, he was depended on. He was among, like they were defending everything. He even won a cup there. And they have won Club World Cup. And the way they played with Paris, if they just keep playing that way, I know they can't play that way in all those 38 games that are going to happen. But if they play just half of the games that way, then you have to be sure that we have half of those games as wins. Like if the game they play the same way they play with PSG, the worst that we can get is a draw. And it has to be a good team that usually comes, that is perfect. Like the only team that can get a draw from that has to have a keeper who's so good, has to have strikers and midfielders who are running everywhere, has to have energy all through. Probably Liverpool only. I don't see Man City doing that. And maybe Arsenal on a good day. But every other team is just defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. Like we'll be winning a lot of games. So, but probably, just probably, if we have to buy anybody else, I think we might, and that's if we sell either Chalobah or Tosin. We might just get a defender. But which defender is will really improve us at that level? Who's available at the market? I don't think there's any defender available who's going to improve us in the same way. So, as at now, I think Liverpool has the complete squad from the coach to everybody. But then they're not far away from Chelsea. Like Chelsea has the second nearly best squad from the coach, and then Arsenal and Man City, I think they have the squad, but then I think they have an issue of a coach who doesn't want to change, a coach who wants to be the main guy. Then Man United are just far away far away from even competing. Tottenham, I'm not sure, but I think they are also far away. As much as they have bought certain guys, I don't think they're going to compete. Then you have Newcastle, who we expect will not perform nearly as good as they performed last season because they haven't signed anybody. They have not improved the team. Every other team has improved their team. Newcastle, I think, has dropped. Like their team right now compared to last season is not good. But then Forest, I haven't looked at Forest. I don't think they'll maintain. They were good last season, but I don't think they're going to maintain. Probably they'll just be competing just above position 10, just 8, 9, 7 if they do well, unless they have a certain, because they don't even have a Langer right now. Now they'll be depending on Hudson Odoi and Wood is getting old. I don't think next season he'll be moving the way he was moving the previous seasons. So Forest again, I don't think they're going to maintain the same. So Brentford is losing players. Mbeumo was one of the main guy. Will they be able to replace a person like Mbeumo who keeps scoring or assisting every other week? Like when Wissa was not there, he was scoring like every other week. Will they have the same score? I'm not sure. So, but they'll not drop to those 15, 13. But last season and the previous 2 seasons, you are expecting teams like Brentford and Wolves to beat Man City. I'm not sure they're going to do that this season. Now you'll have to depend on certain teams. Probably Brighton. If they don't lose Baleb, then you can depend. Because sometimes you just need a team that can be able to handle the likes of Liverpool and Man City. Because when they're on the groove, it's hard for them to lose. Like at some point, Man City was unbeatable. But you just knew whenever they faced Wolves, it will be a draw, they lose. Or when they faced Brentford, like you just knew that's where these people are going to lose some points. And again, with Liverpool, they're just teams where you knew that, of course, Brentford will struggle with lower league teams. They might even get beaten 3-2, 3-1. But whenever they faced Liverpool, whenever they faced Man City, they were coming there to show. Yeah, that's it. That's it for today. I thought probably it would be a lot more, but we have covered everything. It's not a rush. So if you are here, thank you. If you haven't subscribed already, I'm asking you, subscribe, to like. If you like us, we get recommended to a lot of people. So we get mutuals, and mutuals allow us they give us points to discuss and everything. Anyway, have a very lovely day and a lovely weekend. And let's meet when we can. Inshallah.